Berserker, Dungeon Version, Cthulhu Element, Apostle, Filial Piety First. A different anime. You can still watch dungeons if you haven't played them before. It doesn't affect, just a slight reference to the template. Filial piety is the top priority for Chinese people, and after crossing over to the world of pirates, Xiuwu only wanted to go home. But I don't want this road home to be filled with demons, ghosts, and conspiracies. If my parents are still alive and I cannot fulfill my filial piety, then the world will be like a wooden block to me. I am crazy, driven by demons, unable to care about anything else. Those who block my way, destroy them, have nothing to do with good or evil. A unique pirate fan who only wants to write a new story, a different story, a story belonging to the Chinese people. If you find it interesting, then I am also happy and joyful. Feilu Novel Network reminds you that this novel and its characters are purely fictional. If there are any similarities, they are purely coincidental and should not be imitated. Chapter 1. The beginning of everything. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Brain storage area. Forget it, let's keep half of it. Just deposit your brain and serve it, brain flour hot pot. White beard. Take it to death. Slash the mountain. A young man in his teens held a long sword in his hand, leaping high, with a bloody light, and slashed towards Whitebeard. Little devil, you want to kill me, you're already 100 years old. Edward Newgate clenched his right hand and lightly punched, causing cracks to appear in the void. Before the boy could even reach him, he flew backwards at a faster speed, smashing the building behind him and crashing into a pile of ruins. Dad, let's go quickly. This place is too close to the Navy headquarters. With such a big commotion, there should be a Navy coming soon. Marco looked around and said, Jors has already retrieved the devil fruit. Gulalalala, I should be afraid of the Navy. I'm a white-bearded man. Since I've already snatched it back, let's go back and have a banquet, Gulalalala. Edward Newgate, a man with white beards, just looked up at the gathered Navy and turned towards the port. 10 minutes later, report to Lieutenant General Sakaski that the Whitebeard pirates have completed coating and are heading to Mermaid Island. According to intelligence, after the Blood Lion pirates took away a demonic fruit, the captain of the Blood Lion pirates, Corissa, and deputy commander, Ellenher, died, and the other pirates have been arrested. In addition, there is a little ghost who challenged the Whitebeard, a little ghost who was beaten away, and has now been taken to the medical room. Damn pirate, sooner or later, I will wipe out all of you. After the boy is cured, investigate. If there is no problem, send him to the Naval Academy. Although stupid, his courage is commendable. My name is Xiuwu. After the college entrance examination, it was my first time booking a night at an internet cafe. Unexpectedly, I didn't take a nap in the latter half of the night, but when I woke up, I found that I had traveled through time and there was a strange thing in my body that I didn't know should be called a system. Let's call it a system for now. It is said to be a system but unable to communicate, it is said to be eerie but clearly perceives its existence and purpose. With a moment of thought, 3 data interfaces appeared in the sea of consciousness. The character interface is marked with profession. Berserker. Level 50. The skill interface is quite complex, with 1 or 2 icons appearing every time I level 5. Enemy blood can light up the icons, which then turn into active or passive skills for me to master. Moreover, there are 5 golden icons at the bottom of the interface, but they have always been shrouded in gray mist and it is currently unclear how to light them up. On the task interface, there is only one solitary task. Challenge Whitebeard and activate Awakening after reaching level 50. And it is precisely this that made me understand that I have traveled to the world of One Piece. Practicing martial arts is quite fortunate. In a previous battle with pirates, I unexpectedly obtained the life card of Whitebeard. I heard that this thing sold for 2,000 million Bailey on the black market, which is also why cultivating martial arts can find Whitebeard. I just didn't expect that when Whitebeard was young, he was so powerful that he couldn't even resist a punch. Xiuwu opened his eyes, and the pure white roof made him realize that he should have been saved. The only task on the task interface is displayed as completed, while the character interface flashes a blood-red font after the professional berserker. Just as he was thinking about how to awaken while practicing martial arts, his blood energy exploded everywhere in his body, his skin and flesh were torn apart, and blood gushed out. A piercing pain came from all over his body, and strangely, the blood that gushed out was quietly suspended in the air, gradually converging into a towering column of blood. Damn it, what's going on? Does anyone dare to attack the Navy headquarters? At this moment, the Warring States, who was originally working, immediately sensed the presence of a blood column and rushed out the window. Zifa, what's going on? When the Warring States arrived, the naval hospital had already been surrounded. I don't know, I only know that the blood column came from the kid brought back by Sakaski. Zifa's right hand was slightly red, obviously starting to try to break through before the arrival of the Warring States period. But it had no effect at all. Be careful. Before the words of the Warring States period could be finished, the blood-red pillar of light suddenly disappeared, and a figure rushed over, holding a blood-red giant sword and fiercely slashing it. During the Warring States period, the transformation was completed instantly, and the Buddha's impact was suddenly slapped with both hands. In the blink of an eye, the shockwave crossed a distance of tens of meters and fiercely collided with the figure. The figure only paused slightly, and the blood-red giant sword in his hand slammed heavily onto the ground not far away. Before the Warring States could breathe a sigh of relief, a more powerful shockwave spread around the figure, causing the ground to collapse and a blood column, even larger than before, to soar into the sky. The guards around had already retreated a kilometer away when they noticed something was amiss. Although they were 7 or 8 crooked, they did not suffer much damage. The golden giant Buddha was covered with a layer of dark-armed aura, firmly blocking the blow. Subsequently, during the Warring States period, the Buddha's form was lifted and his figure flashed. When he appeared again in front of everyone, he held an unconscious young man in his hand. I didn't expect Sakaski to bring back a genius this time. Zifa, your transfer order has been approved by the Holy Land and will come down in 2 weeks. He will give it to you later. The Warring States period threw the boy in his hand to Zifa. Zifa remained silent for a moment, picked up the boy, and turned around to leave. During the Warring States period, he glanced at the ruins and said in a deep voice, "Let's restore the original state as soon as possible." After that, he turned around and left, but his pace of departure seemed much lighter. Xiuwu woke up again with some emotion. He didn't expect to faint twice in such a short period of time, and in a moment, 3 interfaces appeared. On the character interface, the Berserker has transformed into a blood demon god, with a level of 52. The skill interface once again lit up 2 skills, and then slowly integrated into the body of the cultivator. Demon Prison Blood Shack. Generate a sword of chi and blood within the body, which can be summoned at any time, detonate the sword of chi and blood, and cause multiple massive damage to enemies. Bloodthirsty. A passive skill that abandons defense. The greater the damage received, the stronger the attack power, while preventing the enemy's wounds from healing and entering a bleeding state. Xiuwu thought about the 4 passive skills that were lit up before. Blood Awakening, Burning Blood, Blood Fury, and Rampage. They are very strong and violent. As for the Berserker, what defense is needed? Attack is the best defense, and it depends on who dies first. Blood Chi Awakening. With an increase in speed, the more severe the injury, the faster the speed. Burning Blood. Boils chi in blood, increases recovery effect, can absorb enemy blood, and restore oneself. Blood Fury. The speed of blood flow increases, the physical fitness greatly improves, and at the same time, copies the main weapon to condense a blood blade, which detonates enemy wounds. Rampage. Enhances instincts, resists mental attacks, significantly improves perception, speed, and attack power. The first of the 5 golden icons at the bottom of the skill interface had already been lit up, and the golden light became even more dazzling. Then it turned into a flowing light and disappeared, but suddenly there was a feeling of holding a heavy object in the hand. A giant sword appeared on the left hand of the cultivator. Chapter 2. Rising Winds and Clouds. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Is this the soul-sealing spirit giant sword? Xiuwu looked at the 4 golden icons below, his heart full of doubts. Is it equipment? Suddenly, there was a heart-wrenching pain, but the pain came and went quickly. A faint sense of consciousness came through, and it turned out that the excruciating pain just now was a small part of the soul being split and integrated into the weapon. This weapon is 1.8 meters long, with a slightly wider blade, giving a sense of heaviness. At this moment, the soul-suppressing giant sword emitted a faint red light, giving cultivators a feeling of long absence and encountering a close friend. Release soul-sealing spirit giant sword, advanced. At this moment, a huge figure pushed the door and entered. Cicelo Xiuwu, born in 1493 in Baida village, Donghai. At the age of 9, his parents were killed by the Black Wolf pirates. 3 years ago, he set sail and destroyed 15 pirate groups, including the Black Wolf pirates, the Blood Bamboo pirates, and the Crazy Pig pirates. With his blood-colored swordsmanship and crazy fighting style, he was awarded the title of Mad Swordsman. Later on, he entered the Great Course and failed to challenge Whitebeard, but was saved by the Red Dog. Where did you get this weapon from? Forget it, it's not important. Zifa paused and placed the paper in his hand by the bedside. This is the Naval Headquarters. I am Zifa, the Chief Instructor of the Naval Academy. Now I formally invite you to join the Navy and enter the Naval Academy for further studies. Okay. Xiuwu's answer was very straightforward. Although there is this strange system that can make him stronger, the Navy's 6 styles and dominance can also make him stronger, and the two are not in conflict. Very well, then you can take a day off tomorrow to arrange your own affairs. I hope to see you at the Naval Academy the day after tomorrow. Zifa said and turned around before leaving. His swift and decisive style perfectly matched his military identity. Training is always dull and boring, and every day some students give up due to high-intensity training and then go to work in the 4 Cs, all of which have nothing to do with martial arts. After joining the naval training camp, in just 6 months, he mastered the techniques of shaving, moon steps, lanjiao, and paper painting in the 6 styles. As for iron blocks and finger guns, I didn't learn them during martial arts practice. I gave up on finger guns because as a crazy warrior, I couldn't use them at all. Iron blocks, on the other hand, I felt too foolish during martial arts practice and didn't learn them at all. As for life return, the skill of death resistance learned at level 30 in martial arts can be considered as an indirect mastery of life return. Death resistance. Automatically released after serious injury, slowly healing one's own injuries, manipulating oneself, and increasing defense. Death resistance, life return change. Can be actively released or automatically released after serious injury, restoring one's own injuries, carefully controlling oneself, increasing defense and coordination abilities. In the 2nd year, the sight and smell of martial arts awakened naturally. However, the sight and smell of martial arts were okay, but the weapon color changed. Everyone else was black, while the martial arts weapon color was red from the beginning, like a flowing liquid, with a cherry blossom level weapon color. Yes, after awakening, he became an armed color at the Sakura level, which Zifa referred to as a rare and domineering genius of armed color in a century. Report, teacher, are you looking for me? The 2.24 meter tall cultivator appeared somewhat short in front of Zifa. Tomorrow's exam has been confirmed by the headquarters, and your opponent is Lieutenant General Ghost Spider. As long as you persist for 10 minutes, you can graduate and be awarded the rank of Major, Zifa said with satisfaction. In the past 2 years, practicing martial arts has been like a sponge, crazily absorbing various knowledge, efforts, and talents, like a pair of giant hands steadily lifting the opponent up, with nothing left for oneself to entrust to him. The rest can only depend on himself. Yes, teacher, I don't know what rank you would give me if I win, Xiuwu said with a smile. Stinky kid, let's wait until you win. Get out of here now, Zifa cursed. Then I couldn't help but smile as I watched the cultivator go out. Compared to the 3 current generals and successors, cultivating martial arts is the true disciple who inherits his own legacy. One day later, the campus was already crowded, and Zifa's office was also full of people. The Warring States period, Crane, Capu and 3 senior generals were all there. Their eyes looked through the French window to see the situation on the campus. Warring States, if this kid wins, I will apply for the rank of Brigadier General for him. At this time, the Warring States had temporarily assumed the role of Marshal, but the appointment had not yet been made. You have a lot of confidence in him. You can really beat General Ghost Spider. It doesn't matter if you give him a Brigadier General. The Warring States period readily agreed and turned to look at Red Dog. I'm planning to drop him under your command, after all, you brought him back in the first place. How about that? Sure. Red Dog's face remained unchanged, but there was a glimmer of brilliance in his eyes. However, in the school field, Xiuwu came to the field carrying the soul-released giant sword and bowed slightly to General Ghost Spider, saying, "Thank you, General Ghost Spider. I hope you can give it your all. I want to know the difference between yourself and General. Kid, you don't have to say anything, I won't be lenient either. If your strength is not enough, you should polish it well in school. Otherwise, if you go to the battlefield, the enemy won't give you a chance to live." The expression on the Ghost Spider's face was serious and somewhat frightening. Return of Life holds 2 swords, with 6 black long hair turned into 6 black arms each holding a long sword. There it is, General Ghost Spider's 8-blade flow. The crowd around the school field exclaimed in shock. Chapter 3. First Arrival in the East China Sea. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Xiuwu drew a giant sword with his right hand and touched it with his left hand, slowly forming a blood-red giant sword. A red light flashed in my eyes. 2 giant swords flicked lightly, and a several-meter-long blood-colored cross-slash flew towards the ghostly spider. Oh, at such a young age, are you already a swordsman? 1 sword broke through the cross-cut, and 6 long swords covered in armed and domineering colors were swung behind him simultaneously. The 2 of them come and go, with sword lights flashing. In just a moment, countless wounds appeared on Xiuwu's body. Although they were only skin and flesh wounds, General Ghost Spider only had a small wound on his right shoulder. General Ghost Spider's 8-blade flow is very powerful, with both offense and defense, and dual color dominance is equally strong. Although cultivating martial arts is an armed color at the Sakura level, it has only been awakened for over a year. Although the quality is sufficient, the quantity is not enough, and there is still a certain gap between it and the veteran generals. In addition, seeing and hearing colors are not superior, which is why it is suppressed. Kid, there's still time to give up now. Otherwise, don't blame me if you're seriously injured later. Ghost Spider looked at the kid in front of him and couldn't help but remind him. Thank you very much for your kindness, but I promised the teacher to win. How could I possibly give up? Now it's just a warm-up. Just now, the counterattack made Xiuwu understand that although in the manga, the Lieutenant General feels like giving people a soy sauce-like feeling, always being killed by various seconds. But now this is a real world, where generals are already at the forefront of combat power, strength, stamina, speed, and dual color dominance, all of which are close to the top. However, for Berserker warriors, getting injured is a common occurrence. The heavier the injury, the greater the improvement in strength, and the battle has just begun. Fierce and fierce slash. The double swords in Xiuwu's hand quickly flashed over, leaving 8 bloody knife marks in the air. Although each knife was blocked by the ghost spider, Xiuwu smiled slightly at the ghost spider. Not good, shave. The ghost spider's sight and hearing sounded a crazy warning. Just as they were about to evacuate, 8 bloody knife marks in the air suddenly burst open. The giant sword in his hand smashed towards the ground, spewing out a burst of blood energy, surrounding the ghostly spider and causing wounds to appear on his body. Soul-devouring sealing demon slash. The bloody whirlwind emitted from the left hand raised by self-cultivation Wu-Ping, and the huge suction instantly sucked the ghost spider in. The ghost spider was horrified to find that he seemed to be trapped in a quagmire, unable to move at all, and even unable to use his armed colors. Blood surged wildly from the wound, converging onto the giant sword in the right hand, and slashed heavily on the chest of the ghost spider. Ah! The ghost spider flew backwards and collapsed to the ground, with a huge wound extending from its abdomen to its left shoulder, and its hair returning to normal. Life returns. Blood-red energy surrounds the wound, and both sides of the wound wriggle rapidly to close the wound, but do not want blood to still flow out from the closed wound. Red Dog suddenly appeared in the middle of the school field and said, "The competition is over. Martial Arts Brigadier General, now quickly remove the energy from the wound of General Ghost Spider." Xiuwu nodded and quickly approached General Gui Spider. His right hand gently brushed over the wound, only to see that the wound, which had just been bleeding uncontrollably, immediately stopped bleeding. "Soldier, take General Ghost Spider to the hospital." Red Dog looked at the Ghost Spider who was helped away and said, "Starting tomorrow, you will join my command, lead the rank of general, and lead a separate warship to the East China Sea to guard Rog Town." Previously, there were reports that the great pirate Shanks had appeared on the Great Route, and the route should be heading to the East China Sea. You are responsible for investigating their intentions. Then, you threw a phone worm to Xiuwu. Remember to inform me if there is any situation, don't be reckless. Yes, Lieutenant General Red Dog. Go find Teacher Zifa, he's waiting for you in the office, said Red Dog before turning and leaving. Teacher, don't disappoint. At this point, Xiuwu had already changed into new clothes and all the wounds on his body had healed. He looks polite and courteous. Well, not bad. Remember to help me tidy up that Smog kid after arriving in Donghai Luoga town. He's a good natural science student, but what kind of person he left me abandoned. He's still just a senior colonel, really lacking in cleaning up. Zifa smiled rare. Okay teacher, I will help you say hello to senior brother Smog. Well, go ahead and prepare well. Although it's a bit urgent to leave tomorrow, the red-haired matter really can't be delayed. She waved her hand to signal Xiuwu to leave. Returning to the residence, 2 skill icons lit up prominently on the skill interface, and then integrated into the martial arts body. Mastery of Giant Sword. Increase the level of control of Giant Sword. After officially joining a faction, activate based on the feedback of weapon types. Demon Sha Blood Meteor. Absorbs the chi, blood, and energy of all enemies within a radius of 100 meters, condenses into a huge blood ball, and smashes it towards the enemy, triggering an explosion. Picking up the release of the soul again, some unprecedented insights surged into my heart. The skills that were originally somewhat awkward to use now became naturally smooth. Changes have also occurred in the character panel profession. Prison Blood Demon God, Sword Hero. At this point, I had already transitioned from being a swordsman to being a great swordsman. And originally, due to the stagnation in the training camp in the past 2 years, the level has also dropped to level 55. With a casual swing of the sword, a blood-colored sword aura over 3 meters high flashed and disappeared into the sky, dividing the sea in half and slowly closing after a long time. Oh! There's such a big gap between the swordsman and the great swordsman. It's just a weapon mastery skill that has improved my swordsmanship so much. Chapter 4. Clearing the East China Sea. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Are you a great swordsman? It's really an enviable talent. Zifa looked at the disappearing blood sword energy and then shouted at the students behind him, "Everyone, give me an extra 10 laps. The martial arts cultivators who entered school later than you have already started to fight the sea, protect civilians, and eliminate pirates. You are still here to slack off for me. Report to Brigadier General Xiuwu, Rog Town is ahead, expected to arrive at the port in 5 minutes." Faced with Xiuwu's back, the soldiers straightened their waists. The journey from the headquarters to the East China Sea was not peaceful. A total of 8 pirate groups were encountered, including the small pirate group who had just offered a reward of over 10 million, and the pirate New Star who had exceeded 200 million. However, when facing the martial arts training general, they were all left in the sea without being captured. To the eye, they were floating on the sea with limbs and arms broken. Their strong strength has completely conquered all the soldiers on this warship. Colonel Moss, send a message to Smog. I hope to see all the navies at the base when we enter the island. General Shirhun is carrying his back, with a navy cloak hanging on his right shoulder. Yes, the navy cloak for martial arts is a specially made red one-shoulder cloak. Because the Shirhun giant sword can only be carried behind his back, the width of the cloak is only 1/3 of its original width, with the words Justice written on it. Colonel Moss is a deputy officer sent by the staff, whose main task is to assist in martial arts to handle some affairs in the town of Loeb. Okay, Martial Arts Brigadier General. Colonel Smog, we have just received a summons from Brigadier General Xiuwu to gather all the soldiers from Loeb Town at the base. Dashi, you can do as you please. Don't bother me, I really don't know what the old man thinks. When he gets to the East Sea, he still finds someone to take care of me. Smog sat on the chair and waved his hand, saying impatiently. You should know that when practicing martial arts and hunting pirates in the East China Sea to earn the title of Mad Swordsman, he often came here to receive rewards. He has also seen it a few times, but he is just a good little ghost. Hello, Brigadier General Xiuwu. I am Captain Daki, please give me your guidance. All the soldiers have arrived. Where's Colonel Smog? Why didn't you see him? Xiuwu glanced but didn't see Smog. Colonel Smog is currently handling official duties in the office. Daki hesitated for a moment. Seeing and hearing the color spread slightly, with a gentle wave of his right hand, a blood-colored sword aura that was 2 meters long pierced the building of the naval base and disappeared into the distant sky. Gray-white smoke rose from the cracks in the building. Xiuwu, you bastard, do you want to kill me? White fist. Smog's half-body slowly healed. Senior brother Smog, if I want to kill you, then you are already a corpse by now. Teacher Zifa said that you are negligent, thinking it was just the teacher's nagging. I didn't expect you to be so negligent that you didn't even dodge such a slow attack. Xiuwu leaned slightly and Smog's attack brushed past. Damn it. The old man said I'm okay, you little devil. It's not your turn to point fingers at me. Smog saw his attack dodged and drew out 10 hands to stab Xiuwu. Do you need to rely on the sea tower stone weapon because you don't know how to arm yourself? The soul-releasing giant sword behind him had already appeared in his hand, with a blood-red armed aura flowing on the sword body. Ding's 10 hands were piercing the edge of the sword, divided into 2 parts in Smog's incredulous gaze. You should know that the hardness of Hai Lu Shi is even stronger than that of ordinary swords, and it also has the ability to restrain people, otherwise Smog would not be able to be used as a weapon. Putting away the giant sword, he took out a notebook and threw it to the stunned Smog. This is the domineering cultivation note that teacher Zifa gave me before. You take it yourself. Xiuwu turned his head to look at Stalin and said, please settle the soldiers on my ship and then repair the office building. The cost will be deducted from Smog's salary. By the way, please also organize the information on pirates in the East China Sea and give it to me. Thank you. Yes, Martial Arts Brigadier General. Mose, after the handover, double everyone's training for me. Are these weak soldiers prepared to exhaust the pirates with their own lives? Also, send a message to General Red Dog, telling him that I have arrived in the East China Sea and will soon encircle the pirates in the East China Sea, but there will be no pirates captured. Yes, martial arts brigadier general. Well, even if you're a martial arts general, pirates can't be chaotic. Daki hesitated for a moment. Mose, teach her the rules under my command later. Yes, martial arts brigadier general. Mose's answer was as crisp and sharp as ever. I never expected that at this time, the East China Sea would be in chaos, with one pirate group worth billions, 4 pirate groups worth over 50 million, and as many as 13 pirate groups with bounties of millions. The pirates of the end of the world, Captain Kongmi Kalikas, with a bounty of 190 million yuan, is close to the fruit. The fruit's ability is to stretch a range of 50 meters around its body at will. Captain Seiko, a reward of 130 million yuan. The person who seals the fruit has the ability to seal up to 3 out of the 5 senses, but their hands cannot be moved when using the ability. Captain Qatar and Carter both received a bounty of 80 million yuan, one in the form of a beetle fruit beetle and the other in the form of a turtle fruit rock turtle. Practice martial arts and lightly tap the table with your right hand. In a pirate group in the East China Sea, there are actually 4 demon fruit powerhouses. I remember not seeing any news about them in the comic. It seems that they were either eliminated after entering a new world, or they were eliminated when Cap returned home to clear the East China Sea. Otherwise, with the 2 rules of distance fruit and sealed fruit, Superman fruits cannot have no news at all. Dashi Chi. Here, martial arts brigadier general. Arrange the warships and give me the location of the Tianya Pirates group, as well as the locations of other pirate groups with bounties of over 50 million yuan. In the afternoon, we will set off to suppress the bandits. Also, notify Smog that for the remaining pirates with bounties of over 10 million yuan, I will give them 1 month's time. I don't want to hear any news of them appearing at sea in the future. Okay. Daki's voice was uplifted. After only 3 days of martial arts training, the Brigadier General had already started preparing to clear the East China Sea. Chapter 5. The Clever Crow. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Report, ahead is the headquarters of the Tianya Pirates Group, Kasi Island. Intelligence shows that the Tianya Pirates Group has not yet set sail. The Hage Island they just looted yesterday only returned to Kasi Road this morning and is currently having a banquet on the island. Xiuwu looked at the small island not far away, with smoke rising from the kitchen and noisy sounds that could be heard even from such a distance. Very good, sink the pirate ship in the port for me later. Then kill all the escaped pirates. Remember, there is no space on my ship for the prisoners. Before I could finish speaking, my feet immediately rose into the air, stepping on the moon and speeding towards the small island. Slash on the ground. Upon hearing a voice coming from the air, Kalikas only looked up and saw a figure fall, then his eyes turned red with screams of agony. Damn it, enemy attack. Far away. Kalika's fruit ability was instantly activated, and the blood energy that was originally surging from the ground was instantly pushed open a safe zone. Seiko, Carter, be careful, the enemy is not easy. Kalika's eyes were somewhat solemn. The 2 battle captains, Qatar, were directly killed, their bodies were shattered by energy, and Carter was left with 1 arm. Oh, is this the fruit of distance? It's a great ability. Xiuwu carried the release of his soul and looked at the 3 people in front of him. Controlling distance is truly a powerful ability with great potential. I remember in a previous anime, there was a protagonist who possessed the ability to control distance and became invincible. Unfortunately, the person in front of me only controls 50 meters, which is really a waste. Navy. I haven't seen you in the East China Sea before, are you the new Brigadier General? Seiko was a bit unsure. Hehe, it's really a big gift. Are you ready to suffer to death, little devil? Kalika's looked grim at the moment. I'm going to hang your body on the flagpole at the dock, let everyone know that you've caused me the consequences of being an empty demon. Go ahead. In an instant, the martial arts practitioner's eyes turned black, and the surroundings fell silent. The originally strong smell of blood also disappeared. Carter couldn't bear it anymore and turned into a huge three-legged turtle that was over 10 meters tall. Its body quickly spun and smashed towards the martial arts practitioner. Seal the visual, olfactory, and auditory senses. Xiuwu placed his hands in a lotus shape toward Xiuwu. In an instant, the martial arts practitioner's eyes turned black, and the surroundings fell silent. The originally strong smell of blood also disappeared. Although not as weak as the East China Sea in the manga, it's just that level. Swinging his sword diagonally, the rotating rock turtle shell flew over from both sides of his martial arts training, but was split in half with a single sword, splattering blood all over the ground. The red suit on his martial arts training body became even more alluring at this moment. Impossible, his vision, smell, and hearing have all been sealed by me. How could he possibly know the location of the cartel? And even the rock turtle shell, which cannot be pierced by a cannon, can't be pierced with a single blow. Kalika's, who was just a few feet away, became even more ferocious. He raised his long sword flat in his hand and lightly thrust it forward. The long sword appeared before his martial arts eyes as if it had crossed space. There's a mission. She tilted her head to avoid the attack. The martial arts practitioner did not move forward, and the system in his mind suddenly experienced a strange change. A new task appeared on the task panel, with the main task being, on the way home, and condition 1 being, 3 dreams, incomplete. Condition 2. Discover task items, 1/9, distance from fruit, connect to main world items, please collect. From the fruit or from the blood of the person with fruit ability. Task item, February 9th, blood essence, extracted from millions of blood with certain energy. 3 senses task props. Task props, March 9th, shake fruit, break dimensional wall props, please collect. Shock fruit or the whole body blood of a person with the ability to shake fruit, task props, April 9th. Task props, May 9th. Task props, June 9th. Task props, July 9th. Task props, August 9th. Task props, September 9th. At this moment, practicing martial arts feels like being restrained, with a slight tremble in the body. On the way home means you can go home. Returning to Earth. Then I can also see my parents. Ha ha ha. This is really the best news so far. At this moment, Kalika's had already waved his long sword tightly around his martial arts training body through the ability to distance the fruit. He could see that the Navy on the other side was distracted, but what he didn't expect was that every time the Navy's body made small movements, it would just flash the attack, as if its body was moving on its own. Kalika's, thank you so much. Xiuwu's figure flashed and appeared between Kalika's and Xiuwu. Soul-loving hand. Xiuwu was grabbed by Xiuwu before he could react, and blood rushed out of his 7 orifices crazily, converging into Xiuwu's hands. At this moment, Xiuwu didn't look at Xiuwu in his hand, but turned his head to look at Kalika's with a crazy and serious expression. I thought I could only spend my whole life in this world, but I didn't expect that you gave me hope to go home. At this moment, I sincerely, and with the highest etiquette, thank you, Kalika's. The scream of bang suddenly came to an end, and the headless body fell to the ground. Chapter 6. First encounter with red hair. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In this world, go home. What are you talking about? You're crazy. Kalika's body trembled slightly. He was a fierce person, a vicious person, a cruel person. As a pirate, he had never seen anyone before, but the naval ghost in front of him was extremely frightening. His blood-red eyes were filled with terrifying madness, while he was saying thank you in his mouth. Die for me. At this moment, Corsica's even forgot to use his fruit power and slashed straight at him with his long knife. When the soul-releasing giant sword lay horizontally in front of him, the blood in his left hand slowly turned into a blood-colored giant sword. Practicing martial arts without retreating, advancing instead, deceiving oneself and moving forward. Two giant swords were wildly swung out, seemingly disorganized but full of rhythm. Humph, little ghost, it's useless. You can't hurt me. Corcas didn't dodge the sword of cultivation, but his body didn't receive any damage. Oh. Without real touch, is it suppressing distance around the body to render the attack ineffective? Did you see through? So what? Distance is space, and we are in different spaces. How can you cross the space and hit me? At this moment, Kalikas realized that practicing martial arts could not cause harm to himself, and became a bit arrogant. Although surprised by how quickly he could discover his secret, he didn't take it to heart. Some people had been able to see through before, but no one could hurt him. Soul-eating ceiling demon slash. Before Kalikas could counterattack, he suddenly felt a huge suction coming. The two were clearly very close, but it was still 3 seconds before they could feel the physical touch in their hands when practicing martial arts. Ah! 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 Kalikas only felt the blood boiling inside his body, constantly tearing apart. Blood converged like a stream towards the head of the cultivator. The screams lasted for a full 10 seconds, and a faint grey phantom emerged from Kalikas's shriveled body, flying towards the blood cells on the cultivator's head, gradually compressing and wrapping them, and finally turning into an unreal and lined fruit that floated quietly in the air, then burrowed into the cultivator's body and disappeared. Discard the body in your hand. The task interface has changed. Condition 2. Discover task items, 1/9, distance from fruit, cross-world items, please collect. From the fruit or from the blood of the person with fruit ability. Completed, roar. A black figure slowly rose from Corsica's body. Human, where have you taken my rules? Give them back to me quickly, otherwise I will sink you into nothingness forever. I saw this black figure with a blurry face, a body over 9 meters high, a flat and slender head, a corner at the back of the brain, for legs, but 2 slender arms that reached to the ground on both sides of the body. This is it a demon in the fruit of demons? After the system deprived the power of rules in the fruit of demons, the demons had no support, so they emerged. Humble humans dare to ignore the great ruler of time and space, Yug-Sothoth, go to hell. The demon just raised his left hand and half of his arm disappeared into the void. The cultivator, Jian Wensei, did not perceive any attacks, but blocked 2 swords on both sides of his body, causing his mental state to collapse to the limit. The ruler of time and space, Yug-Sothoth. I always feel like I've heard this name somewhere. Is it an attack that Jian Wensei cannot perceive? But after half a day, there were still no attacks. Damn it, how could it be? You are a person with no past or future, and you should not exist in this world. Human, this is just my insignificant clone. One day we will truly meet, and I will always be watching you, the non-existent. Yog-Sothoth looked strange, but his body slowly disappeared. There is no past or future. Do you want to kill me through time? It's really dangerous, Yug-Sothoth. It seems like one of the outer gods in the Crusoe mythology. After pondering for a while, he felt a system change and summoned up the task interface again. Epic task. The mystery of the universe. Uncovering the secrets of the universe. Mystery 1. The existence of the ruler of time and space, the demonic fruit possessed by it, exploring its mysteries. Unsolved, Mystery 2. Mystery 3. The current task progress is 10%. Task reward. 1, 2. What? 3, Apostle Awakening. After 3 awakenings, one can rediscover all mysteries, it's getting more and more interesting. Both tasks require 3 awakenings, so it seems we need to strive for them as soon as possible. Xiuwu raised his right hand and saw a small nebular-shaped vortex in his palm, with 12 red dots shining. A group of 3,000 pirates only condensed 12 drops of essence and blood in the end. Then he shook his head and saw that his way home was destined to be depart, heading towards the giant axe pirates. Xiuwu, who returned to the warship, turned around and entered the cabin. Yes. In 15 days, the warships led by Xiuwu cleared a total of 9 pirate groups, including 4 pirate groups with a bounty of over 50 million yuan, 2 pirate groups with a bounty of over 10 million yuan, and 3 pirate groups with a bounty of less than 10 million yuan, all of which were killed in one strike. Chapter 7. Duel Capu. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Brigadier General Xiuwu, Rog Town sent a message saying that Colonel Smog was defeated and humiliated by the Raven Pirates on Moyu Island. Captain Uli requested to meet with you and ensure that Colonel Smog was safe during his stay as a guest of the pirate group. Daki looked at Xiuwu continuation with some admiration and said, Raven Pirates, Captain Uli, an animal with the ability to bear raven fruit, a reward of 950W. The entire pirate group only has more than 90 people, of which Captain Uli is the only one who has been offered a reward. The reason for the reward is because he robbed a noble merchant ship and slaughtered the nobles on board. Empty. Oh, it's interesting to be able to capture Smog, who is a natural species, and the reward is only 950W. How far are we from Moyu Island? Starting now, you should arrive around noon on the 3rd day. Daki pushed her glasses. Then reply to the other party and see you in 3 days. Yes, General Xiuwu. Although Daki agreed, he did not leave. Is there anything else? General Xiuwu, can you show me your weapon? I've never seen such a sword before. As far as I know, it shouldn't be any of the big fast swords. Daki looked a bit embarrassed, but her tone was serious and serious. Can't you finally resist it? The soul-sealing sword, let's see, you shouldn't be able to hold it. Xiuwu chuckled and casually placed the soul-sealing sword behind him on the table. It was rare for someone who was determined to take back all the famous swords that had been taken away by evil people to endure such a long time when they saw an unfamiliar sword. Martial arts Brigadier General, although I am very weak, I won't even be unable to hold a sword. Oh, how could that be? Daki's face looked a bit cute, but then it turned into surprise, because even though she used all her strength, the soul-releasing giant sword lying horizontally on the table remained motionless. However, with such a heavy soul-releasing giant sword placed on the table, there was no problem with the table, as it was just an ordinary wooden table. Dashi leaned down and carefully looked at the giant sword on the table, gently caressing its body with both hands. Surprisingly, this sword is made of stone, and its body is so thick. Has it not been sharpened? Brigadier General, what is this flickering light? It's the soul. 3 days passed in a blink of an eye, and the warship practicing martial arts had entered the port of Moyu Island. Moyu Island in front of us was a very small island, and we could see the entire island at a glance. However, the island was shrouded in mist, and in the middle of the island, we could vaguely see several houses. It should be the headquarters of the Raven Pirates. The soldiers were all left on the warship, with only Daki following behind the cultivator and setting foot on the island together. You should be Uli, it seems that Smog is doing well with you. He turned to look at Smog sitting on the ground next to him, still with some dark eyes and handcuffed hands. Can you tell me where your sea tower stone handcuffs come from? I don't remember the East China Sea being so wealthy that even a small pirate group would have sea tower stone handcuffs. Hello, esteemed Master Xiuwu, please allow me to introduce myself first. My name is Uli, Ultos, Uli, and my ability is not the gray crow fruit mentioned in the Navy bounty, but the phantom beast raven fruit mist crow form. As for the sea tower stone, of course, it was stolen by my subordinates. Uli looked at his 20s, dressed in a grey gentleman's gown, slightly bowing with an elegant smile on his face. I am inviting you, Brigadier General, to join your team this time. Oh, this is quite strange. We should be meeting for the first time, and I'm just a Brigadier General. What's worth you joining? The cultivator's expression was full of playfulness. As a beast-like creature, I believe that no matter which faction, you will be extremely welcome to join. I hope Brigadier General does not misunderstand. 3 years ago, I left the East China Sea and entered the Great Route, but unfortunately, just as I entered the Great Route, I encountered Drought Jack, and my younger brother also died in the hands of Drought Jack. Wu Li's face still wore an elegant smile, but his expression was filled with a bloodthirsty light. It was also the time when I learned about the existence of dominance. During the time I fled back to the East China Sea, I have been exercising my body, but I have never been able to awaken my dominance. So when you learned that I would be domineering, you wanted to use yourself as a bargaining chip, join my team, and then let me teach you domineering as a condition. I think you should have a second condition, such as killing Drought Jack, or even the fourth Emperor Kaido. Xiuwu interrupted Wu Li directly. Yes, Your Excellency Brigadier General. I have heard of the title of Martial Arts Master before. He is a fierce swordsman who never stays alive when facing pirates. And I know that in the Navy, only a Lieutenant General is usually domineering, while Your Excellency is just a Brigadier General but proficient in domineering. I want to gamble. Until then, the elegance on Wu Li's face disappeared, and he became a gambler who overwhelmed everything with madness. Chapter 8. First Facing the West Sea. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Huh, it's interesting, really interesting. Do you want to take a gamble? Dashi Chi, go and untie your comrade. Xiuwu turned around and walked towards the port. By the way, if you have your own subordinates, take them with you. As for the rest, you can do whatever you want. White Fist. Okay, Master Xiuwu. Wu Li didn't pay attention to the attack behind him. He just waved his left hand lightly, but saw the white fist dissipate completely, and even smog slowly dissipated into smoke, gathering not far away to recover his body. Mr. Smog, Master Xiuwu has agreed for me to join his command. Everyone is currently in the Navy, so it's not good to attack me. Besides, your smoke fruit is completely my subordinate fruit and has no effect on me. It's better not to do useless work anymore. Smog took 10 hands from Dashki's hand, clenched his fist, and then put it down again. He crossed over Wu Li and walked towards the port. I will keep an eye on you. If you do something against the Navy, I will personally send you into the propulsion city. Wu Li casually smiled and then waved his hands slowly on both sides of his body. The mist that filled the island began to gather, and the flesh and blood on the crew members of the Raven pirates were instantly corroded, leaving only pale bones scattered on the ground, without even a sound. Not long after, the mist dissipated, and apart from the bones on the ground, there were no signs of corrosion on the ground and trees shrouded in the mist. It seems that Wu Li's fruit ability is well controlled. General Xiuwu, Wu Li was originally a pirate. Is it okay to let him join the Navy like this? Daki was a bit worried. What's the problem? Don't worry, I'll tell the old man. Xiuwu said and took out a phone worm from his inner pocket. Masamoshi, Teacher Zifa. You stinky kid, you did a good job. I heard that all the pirates in the East China Sea have been eliminated by you. Haha, that guy Capu said he wanted to find time to thank you, saving him a lot of trouble. The time he saved can now challenge a new donut record. Zifa's voice came from the phone worm. Teacher Zifa, I have recently hired a subordinate and am preparing to send him over to help me train well. Zifa's voice relaxed the cultivator. Oh, it seems you're a good person, otherwise you wouldn't be so focused. Well, it's not bad. The creature with the ability to grow fog crow fruit was a pirate before, but now he has decided to follow me. The fruit has developed well, but his physical fitness is average, so I hope he can practice it well when he arrives. Huh, Mist Crow. That's really a good ability, let me do it. I'll talk to the warring states later. Zifa's voice sounded even more cheerful at this moment. That's right, the phantom beast species, which are even rarer than the natural species. Joining the Navy now is another cutting-edge combat capability for the Navy. Then it's okay. You stinky kid, only contact me if you have something to do. Tell Wooly later and arrange for him to go directly to the Naval Headquarters Academy. By the way, tell Smog to continue completing the mission and I will return to the base first. Xiuwu said as he was about to leave. Well, General Xiuwu, was that General Zifa just now? Can I also attend the training camp at headquarters? During my time with you, I feel that my strength is too weak to be of any use. Daki's voice grew louder and louder. Ah, then you can go with him. Just tell the leader of Zay Pharaoh that I asked you to go. As soon as he finished speaking, his martial arts cultivation soared towards the direction of the base in Rog Town. Yes, General Xiuwu. I will definitely work hard to train and I won't embarrass you. It has been 2 months since I came to the East China Sea to cultivate martial arts. The East China Sea has completely become a forbidden area for pirates, and Loge Town is also known as a tomb for pirates. Xiuwu has also gained a new title, Blood Sword Cultivation. At the beginning, there was also a pirate group preparing to replenish in Loge Town before entering the Great Route. However, since Mose took over, ships entering Loge Town had to undergo inspections, lower pirate flags, and disguise themselves as civilians. The method was directly invalidated, and even according to martial arts advice, as long as pirates could be found on the island and information could be provided and verified, they could receive a reward of 50,000 Bailey. As a result, Loge Town even gave birth to bounty hunters who memorized all the bounty orders that had not been revoked, and then squatted on various ships entering the port every day. Once hidden pirates were discovered, it represented the income, safety, and efficiency of 50,000 Bailey. According to intelligence, the red-headed pirates have entered Loge Town via the Great Route and are currently at the Earl's Tavern south of Loge Town. Has it finally arrived? Mose, evacuate the surrounding residents and arrange for soldiers to surround the red-headed pirates group, but don't get too close. Yes. Arrange it immediately. We don't need to report it to General Red Dog, after all, General Red Dog had already informed us before departure. Mose hesitated. No need, I will personally report to General Red Dog later. Go. The figure of cultivator has disappeared. Boss, it's already surrounded by the Navy outside, but there's no other action at the moment, said Locky Road, causing everyone's movements to pause as they looked at the red-haired man at the bar. Chapter 9. The beginning of Bloodthirsty. You are listening at novelfull.audio. I didn't originally want to cause trouble, but it seems that Brigadier General doesn't quite agree. He drank the wine in his hand and turned his red hair to look at the entrance of the tavern. Just a pirate, as a naval officer, should I still turn a blind eye? Before the words of martial arts could be finished, I felt an astonishing momentum pressing against me, making me feel suffocated. Is it a domineering aura? It's the first time I've seen such a strong domineering aura. The blood mist slowly rose from around me, but when I practiced martial arts, I directly activated the rampage skill. Anger erupts. That day, everyone in the town of Loge saw a burst of blood energy rushing out into the sky, followed by a roar, and then fainted. When I woke up again, I found that the street to the south of Loge Town, where the Earl Tavern was originally located, had turned into ruins, and the ground had been dyed a faint red. When the Navy arrived, they only saw General Xiuwu naked, his unconscious body still sitting on the ruins, with wounds crisscrossing his body. Even a 5 cm wound appeared on his left face, adding a touch of maturity and dominance to the originally youthful Xiuwu. And the red-headed pirates became the only pirate group in Loge Town to leave alive for several months. Later, there were rumors that the captain of the red-headed pirates, Red-Headed Shanks, had been carried away by Vice Captain Ben Beckman when he left, and behind him was a huge cross-shaped wound emitting blood. When he woke up from his martial arts practice, half a month had already passed. During his unconscious period, Smog was still carrying out the orders he had given before his martial arts practice. He cleared the pirates in the East China Sea and was promoted to Brigadier General. At this time, he was also awarded the rank of Major General by the headquarters. Mose. As soon as Xiuwu opened his eyes, he saw Mose sitting by the bed. "General Xiuwu, are you awake?" Mose quickly replied when he heard the sound of Xiuwu. "How long have I been unconscious?" "Major General. Tell me what happened during this period." The title of Major General makes martial arts practitioners aware that their unconscious time should not be short. "Yes, it has been 18 days since you fell into a coma." During this period, the Warring States General was promoted to Admiral of the Navy, and the three Major Generals, Red Dog, Green Pheasant, and Yellow Ape, were promoted to Admiral. Red Dog was promoted to Admiral on your behalf, and then the headquarters awarded you the rank of Major General based on your military achievements. Smog was awarded the rank of Brigadier General, and I was also awarded the rank of Colonel. In addition, a few days ago, Red Dog General personally came to visit you and asked me to tell you not to overestimate yourself next time. At the same time, I asked you to repair yourself and go to the West Sea. The East China Sea will be handed over to Brigadier General Smog. Also, yes. Mose recounted in detail what had happened during this period, but hesitated a bit in the end. Xiuwu was digesting Mose's words, but in the end, he heard Mose's hesitation. "Is there anything else I can't say?" It was General Red Dog's accompanying military doctor who drew a tube of your blood, saying that he had followed General Yellow Ape's orders, but General Red Dog did not stop him. Mose's voice was much quieter this time. "Is it a tube of blood?" Yellow Ape. A name flashed through Xiuwu's mind, Vegapunk. It is said that the world government is very interested in the blood energy inside your body, so they arranged for the Ministry of Science to study it, so. Mose's voice became lighter, almost faintly visible. "Alright, go ahead and get busy. Arrange some food to be delivered, let's have a 10-person portion first." Xiuwu interrupted Mose's words. "Yes, then rest well." Mose bowed and retreated upon hearing it. At this moment, Xiuwu raised his left hand, only to see his muscles surging in blood overflowing. The originally normal left hand became pitch black and ferocious, and the curse of the ghost hand was Kazan syndrome. A crazy and bloodthirsty impulse came to mind from the ghost's hands. A blue light flashed on his body, instantly suppressing this bloodthirsty thought. Purification, weak, passive skills obtained at level 20. Suppress evil thoughts, suppress curses. As one's level increases, it becomes increasingly difficult to suppress the thoughts of madness and bloodthirsty in every battle, and the manifestation of Kazan syndrome becomes more and more obvious, while the purification effect becomes smaller and smaller. If one's own blood is injected into someone else's body, I don't know if it will. Report. The sound coming from outside the ward interrupted Xiuwu's thoughts. "Come in. Colonel Moss asked me to tell Major General that Lieutenant General Cap will arrive in Logue Town in an hour." A group of soldiers entered the ward, placed their food in their hands, and then left the room. Xiuwu didn't respond, but walked directly out of the hospital bed and started eating at the dining table. Long-term coma made him urgently need to replenish a lot of energy at this time. Summoning up the system panel, there have been some new changes in the level and skill panels. After a battle with Red Hair, my level has been raised to level 69, and I have also illuminated 3 skills at level 60. Passive, Rampage, and active, Bloodbath, as well as level 65, Bloodbath Fury. Rampage. After being activated, it will not die for an hour. When the time is up, it will restore its normal injuries and physical strength. Blood Plunder. Rush towards the enemy at lightning speed, activate the blood inside the enemy's body, and smash it towards the ground before detonating. Bloodthirsty fury. Explodes one's own chi and blood, causing significant damage to surrounding enemies. One step has been taken towards the second awakening, and more importantly, the passive skill of Fury Surge, which is equivalent to an hour of immortality, will be the most crucial trump card for oneself now. In an hour, the cultivation ended after eating nearly 20 people's food. He, who was proficient in life return, had absorbed and replenished the energy of these foods throughout his body. Change into the Major General's uniform next to him, put on the soul-released giant sword on his back, and look at the scar on his left face in the mirror. Red hair, I hope next time we meet, you'd better take it further, otherwise. In my memory, in the future, red hair will press her arm against Luffy. If you encounter yourself, I believe all he can do is run away. Stepping out of the hospital, Mose had already been waiting at the door. Line up, go to the dock to welcome General Capu. Chapter 10. Encountering Kaido. You are listening at novelfull.audio. You little devil can do it, I heard you're on a draw with that red-haired kid. Not bad, not bad. Cap's hand fell heavily on his shoulder as he practiced martial arts. There's no tie, I lost, there's nothing to praise. If I can't win, I'll lose. His shoulder was slapped with a snap, and his martial expression remained unchanged. Kapu's smile grew stronger as he said, haha, not bad, not bad. Zifa has actually taken in a good disciple. Let's practice together when we have time. I have time now, and I really want to know how far I am from the top tier of the ocean's combat power. The Whitebeard punch is still fresh in my memory. When I was at the headquarters, I stayed in the training camp of the Naval Academy to study martial arts. After graduation, I was directly assigned to the East China Sea due to my red hair. Therefore, during my more than 2 years at the headquarters, I saw Capu for the first time. You little devil is really getting more and more interested in me. Do you want to come to my boat? I'll tell that little red dog. Cap's appreciation grew stronger in his eyes. No need, General Red Dog is very kind to me, but I just hope that General Capu can give his all soon. Xiuwu has a good impression of Red Dog in the manga in his memory. A person with a firm belief is always more easily respected, especially after crossing over and having a few contacts with Red Dog, the impression of Xiuwu is even stronger. A person with a firm belief and strategic mind is more rich and realistic than a single image in the manga. Take Capu to the training ground at the base, throw his shirt aside, and hold the soul release sword in his hand. Be careful, Lieutenant Capu. Come on little devil, let me see to what extent Zifa has taught you. Fist bones. Cap's fist was armed with black and red. So fast. Xiuwu looked at the attack that came to him in an instant and raised his giant sword to block him. Blocking. Experience Cap's domineering aura up close. Practice martial arts very clearly. Although your domineering aura has reached the Sakura level, it is still a bit far behind Cap's. Cross slash. The blood-colored cross energy carries a light red aura. Furious slash, anger burst, blade of blood used 4 skills in a row. Fist bone meteorite. Cap's fists turned into remnants and exploded with an unstoppable momentum. The 2 attacks made a loud explosion as soon as they made contact. Huh, your little devil's attack is good, it has a bit of the taste of Zifa that guy. Iron Fist, Bloodthirsty Fury, Rampage. The cultivator's figure instantly lowered, with a bright red light in his eyes and white breath exhaling from his mouth. He did not dodge Capu's attack and rushed forward. Blood Fury. The speed of blood flow increases, the physical fitness greatly improves, and at the same time, copies the main weapon to condense a blood blade, which detonates enemy wounds. Rampage. Enhances instincts, resists mental attacks, significantly improves perception, speed, and attack power, slash the mountain and crack the ground. A heavy blow hit Cap's fist, and blood energy spewed out, enveloping Cap. Fist bone, justice iron fist. But at this moment, Capu, who rushed out, finally got injured. His clothes were already damaged and he was thrown aside. There was a slender wound on his left shoulder, although there were blood stains oozing out, it was not serious. The person who cultivates martial arts is much more miserable, but this also makes the madness in the eyes of cultivators even worse, blood plunder. Blood plunder. Rush towards the enemy at lightning speed, activate the blood inside the enemy's body, and smash it towards the ground before detonating. The two of them fought together again, with their white and red figures rooted in the middle of the training ground, fiercely bombarding each other without taking a step back, tossing and turning, and resisting any unavoidable attacks. Capu's 6 styles have already reached the pinnacle of cultivation, and the iron blocks and paper paintings are exceptionally exquisite. Seeing and hearing the color also steadily suppressed Xiuwu's head. Most of the attacks are dodged by paper paintings, but they cannot be dodged. Even iron blocks covered in armed colors can resist the attacks, at most some skin injuries. However, most of Capu's attacks fell on the cultivators. At the beginning, Capu was still focused, but later found that the attack on the cultivator not only did not repel him, but also made the cultivator's attack more and more fierce, so he no longer stayed behind. As time goes by, the wounds on the cultivator's body become more and more numerous, and he becomes more and more excited. Bloodthirsty. A passive skill that abandons defense. The heavier the injury, the stronger the attack power, while preventing the enemy's wounds from healing and entering a bleeding state. Due to the existence of passive bloodthirsty skills, the attack of martial arts cultivation is several times heavier than before. Suddenly, a powerful pressure came from Cap's body, and the armed color on his fist flashed with red lightning. Fist bones dominate the fist. I was already a bit crazy about practicing martial arts and suddenly paused. Is the power of the king entwined? Well done. The demon prison bloodbath. A huge blood sword suddenly appeared in Xiuwu's hand and was then fiercely smashed down. The training ground, which was originally a bit noisy, suddenly became eerily quiet. As if deaf, a black and red light flashed and then disappeared as if it had been swallowed up. It seemed that after a long time, a blood-red beam that almost covered the entire training ground rose up into the sky. The roar only came at this moment. The complicated statement is actually just a blink of an eye effort.